Hello, fellas and ladies. I'm not going to talk about Top Gun Maverick. I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to. You can't make me. I'm going to get this spiel out and then never talk about it for the rest of the video. I think it's only fair to talk about this movie without comparing it to such a juggernaut. This is Joseph Kosinski's first film since Top Gun Maverick. So unfortunately, that comparison will be, it'll be there no matter what. I just wanted to spell that right now. It's not even close. The worst thing that they possibly did for not so much for selling tickets, but for, people loving the movie, is that putting that movie's title on the poster. People keep trying to conjure up another Top Gun Maverick, and honestly, I don't think we're ever gonna get one of those phenomenons again. Nothing has matched what happened when that movie came out. Not Dune, not Sinners. Barbenheimer came close, but even that felt different. It was huge, but it just didn't feel like the weight that, when Top Gun Maverick came out, it was just, timing was perfect. It was the perfect film to watch, for a lot of people, the first movie they saw in, not even just because of the pandemic, but just because I hadn't been to the movies in forever. It was just the perfect phenomenon that I don't think is, I think it's unmatchable. I think the second you get rid of that comparison, you will enjoy F1, which is why, as much as I love Top Gun Maverick, I am not going to rewatch it till my coverage of this movie is done, just because I want to try and compare the two as little as possible, since in terms of this kind of experience, nothing will probably ever top that movie. Just as an example, filming with fighter jets is just inherently more difficult than filming with Formula One cars, but that just sounds like an insult to filming with how difficult filming with F1 cars are, which I imagine isn't, but it's nothing compared to a fucking fighter jet. So for the rest of this review, I will not mention Top Gun Maverick. I'm reviewing F1, the newest film from Joseph Kosinski, director of Oblivion and Only the Brave. This film follows a race car driver played by Brad Pitt, who is retired, but then he gets recruited by an old pal to race Formula One alongside a young, cocky driver, and they gotta win. Right off the bat, if you're coming for the races, oh. The races in this movie are pretty fantastic. The way Kosinski chose to film the sequences feels so I saw one person say that it didn't have an identity, the race sequences, and I'm I don't agree with that. It feels very fresh in a way that it could have replicated what they did with Ford versus Ferrari. There's definitely going to be comparisons to something like Ford versus Ferrari in the way that the racing sequences are filmed, but the movie joint with the narrative and what's going on in this moment, it feels like its own little animal. Yeah, it's kinetic, it's definitely quick paced and very cutty, but I think the way that it's shot, I think he's reteaming up with Claudia Miranda, and I think the way that they shoot not just the cars and the multiple angles of the cars, but just the every moving part of a Formula One race just feels so fresh. It feels so fun. This movie will deliver the highs that you're expecting to get out of this movie. I think when the movie jumps to needle drops, it gets a little lame, but when you mix in everything going on, plus the the score by Hans Zimmer, it really feels like your heart pounding. It's a very exhilarating experience when these moments are happening. This movie definitely follows a lot of beats that you expect, which isn't typically inherently automatically a bad thing. It can be, but it's not always just that is bad. And while it doesn't always work in this film, there are the things you are expecting, you do get it. You are kind of rooting for this comeback narrative. I do think not everything lands, but I think when it's oh, is he gonna do it, those moments are pretty I want him to do it. I want this to happen. I know in my heart it's going to, but I still want to see it. Because the racing sequences are so fun, it kind of adds to that. It is an exciting film. It is a well shot, really nice looking, pretty entertaining time at the movies. It's definitely got that old school vibe. A lot of people are gonna love this movie. I can see people saying it's their favorite movies of the year. That just wasn't it for me, for a couple reasons. I think in the moment I was ready to be this is a very, very great movie. A couple of narrative things aside, I think this is very good. I do think the writing is not amazing. And before I get the, oh, but it's just fun. It's just meant to be fun. I'm 11 years old. I do want to add on to that a little bit, because there is why I bring up that the script does push it back, because yes, in the moment, it's like it's like great stuff. Once the movie's over, I gotta be honest, it's kind of gone from me now. As much as I like the performances, I don't think the movie gave me much reason to care about these people. Again, you're rooting for Brad Pitt's character because of like baseline, like, yeah, go. And I actually do think Brad Pitt's character is pretty memorable. I think Brad Pitt's at a point in his career where he's like, you know, he's one of the most famous actors on earth, probably ever. It's kind of hard not to see him as a movie star, and I think he does lean into it in this movie, kind of like how he did in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. And, you know, he does have the whole, like, oh, I'm a rebel, you know, let's break the rules to win, but, like, it's all loopholes and stuff like that. That stuff is entertaining, but, like, beyond that, we don't care about, like, this dude beyond that. Like, again, other than the fact that we're rooting for him to win, it's like, all right, cool. I mean, that in and of itself is a success, but, like, they do kind of try and do other things of, like, I need this emotionally. It's like, I don't know about that. I don't know. I didn't care about that. I didn't care about anything out like, in that regard. The movie manufactures a lot of drama. Like, a lot of drama. There's a lot of stuff that just, like, narratively just doesn't work for me that I'm like, we can move past this. I don't want to say him and Carrie Condon's, like, chemistry wasn't there, but I definitely didn't care. I think the whole rivalry thing with, like, the young guy, Damon Andrews is pretty good, but, like, I think, like, that whole idea of, like, their old rivalry felt super rushed. There's, like, a thing towards the end with, like, a guy who's just suddenly he's the villain. I'm like, okay. You know, I didn't care about that at all. I think that's kind of the issue. Other movies like this that kind of, like, you're there for the spectacle, but usually it works more when you kind of care, like, you remember it more, because that, so much so that even, like, the sequences with the racing, as great as they are, once you're out of the theater, you're kind of done with it. The high doesn't stick with you, and I think that's an issue with a movie like this, being just a sugar high. And again, for a lot of people though, that's, like, good enough, and I'll you know, go see it. I'm just saying this is an issue I had. I also just want to point out real quickly, the editing didn't always work for me. I think the editing during the sequences, they do really good, like the whole cut thing. Yeah, there are a lot of fast cuts. Sometimes it worked a lot, but there are a lot of times where I'm like, the pacing is maybe too quick. Where there was, like, a dialogue scene where it's cut, like, that reminded me a lot of that clip. That I went, I think overall it worked, but there are some moments where it's like, there was a moment, like, towards the end where, like it's supposed to be an emotional moment, and Brad Pitt's driving, and it just felt rushed in a way that I was like, I think this movie is lacking that moment to breathe, that we could really be, like, happy for this character. There's something where a guy goes like, what is he doing? And in another movie, it would be like, you know, it would go back to the character doing the thing, just breathe. I'm being vague. It's a little hard to say without spoiling. But, like, the guy, you know, we see Brad Pitt doing something, and then it would cut back to Carrie Condon, like, explaining it, because I got a callback. But in this movie, it's just, what he's doing. He's doing this! This is what he's doing! And I'm not, I don't know, that moment just, I don't know, moments like that just felt very much where I'm like, I feel like we're just going quickly, and I think that there's a lot of incompetency there. Because I think the moments that work are exhilarating. It's just, unfortunately, once I got in the car, I was like, okay, would I see it again? Sure. But, like, is it gonna stick with me? No, probably not. I mean, it hasn't. I imagine a lot of audiences are gonna love it, and in the moment there was a lot of sweating and rapid heartbeats coming from me, as a lot of the sports tropes did work, but only in the moment. It's a fun theatrical thrill ride that delivers on the highs you might want, but once you leave that theater, there's not much to grab onto. I'd still say F1 is a very good movie though, and I'd give it 7 Cliff Booths out of 10. I mean, I think a lot of people are gonna like it more than me. Although I can see people agreeing, like, with that, but, like, you know, they kind of want the candy, which is not a bad thing. Alright, that's it. That's enough of that. Let's grab and share. Bye-bye.